All right, I think we're live. Can anybody in the chat see us? My first time using this software. We're live. Can anybody in the chat see us? Oh, it's working. My first time using this. I'll close that one. Okay. Looks like it's working then. I just saw myself.
Cool.
Sweet. So let's go ahead and get started, I guess. So today's session, we have code crafting, aka Joshua. He is the lead developer for Emergents, and he also works on Crunchy, as well as, how do you pronounce the other project?
Project UAnon.
UAnon, that's right, UAnon.
Yeah.
So doing, I think, those 3 projects, and then helping out with a bunch of other projects. Today, we're specifically trying to focus on Crunchy and how we're going to do how the NFT splitting is going to go with the Ghost Tezzard. So to get started, let's go ahead, and I want to ask Code Crafting a little bit of questions about himself, a little bit about your history, what got you into Tezos, and yeah.
Yeah. So I've been a software developer for about 20 years. Hold on, somebody says we have an audio feedback loop.
It should be fine now. Before I was watching myself on the YouTube, so it's like about a 20-30 second delay between the chat and us. So okay,
Right.
should be fine.
Yeah, we're good. All right, yeah. So I've been a software developer for about 20 years. Before I got into blockchain, I worked a lot in healthcare space, but always like startups. So I like the startup feel. And then I started playing a crypto puzzle game. It's called Satoshi's Treasure Hunt. It was probably heard of it, or maybe not, but it was a couple years ago. It had like the big $1 million prize. And so I got on a team there. That was one of the lead teams. We did pretty good. But I got friends with a couple of blockchain engineers on the team. And then we started doing hackathons. So we did some Ethereum hackathons. We did one called Cheese Wizards, which was kind of fun, where like these like wizards that were like pieces of cheese, like battled each other. And then if like you lost the battle or like your points fell too low, like the blue mold came and like got you. Anyway,
melted.
yeah. It was kind of fun. And then so yeah, we did some Ethereum hackathons. And then there was this Future of Blockchain 2 hackathon. And the guys that ran that, they came and approached us and asked if we would be interested in doing something on Tezos, because Tezos at that point in time was sponsoring a pretty big prize for it, and there weren't that many people actually doing it. So we're like, yeah, we'll take a look and try to do it. So that was the first time I developed on Tezos, first time I wrote any contracts. At that point in time, there weren't that many developer tools, so it was a bit of banging your head against the wall. Like, I just have to say, it's a lot better for developers these days. A lot of the tools have been, sussed out. But yeah, I've been in Tezos ever since then. I worked on side projects a lot. Out of that hackathon spun Chain of Insight, which runs now the Project UAnon puzzle game that's still ongoing. We're working on season 3 now, 6 seasons to go. Yeah, and so then I applied for a job with TQ Tezos, and I got hired. And now I'm working at Interpop, that kind of spun off from TQ. So I work at Interpop full time. I'm not specifically on the Emergents team, but I am one of the senior devs there, and we work on the comics and Interpop, a lot of cool stuff. And then on the side, yeah, I work on Crunchy. I help a lot of people with contracts. I've helped out with a lot of like token sale contracts. I'm also on the Rocket team, which is the IDO platform. And I'm always in Discord and Telegram. Everybody knows who I am pretty much. So
yeah, it's great to put like a face to the code crafting name. I just was wondering, why did you specifically choose Tezos? You were working kind of on Ethereum a little bit, but then you decided to stick with Tezos. Is there any specific reason for that?
Yeah. So one is the fees. Um, the fees are a lot cheaper on Tezos. Another is that Ethereum is kind of overcrowded, in my opinion, especially for like DeFi and stuff. Whereas like on Tezos, DeFi didn't even exist on Tezos a year ago, right? It all kind of really picked up around April or May of this year, and that's when I decided to start Crunchy. And I mean, to me, it's a chance to, have a stake in a really awesome blockchain, and not kind of get lost in the shuffle, like, right? Um, if we would do some of this stuff on Ethereum, we kind of be lost in the shuffle, whereas Tezos, we're like at the leading edge, and we have a chance to, make a real impact on people and on the protocol and on the chain. Um, I like that it's liquid proof of stake. You know, um, I read the white paper, um, and instantly I was like, this is a chain that's going to be around for a while. I hope it is. So we all do this all why we're all here. But yeah.
Yeah, I
So
mean, it's great. You can just move your stake around like Polkadot. Even you have to lock up your tokens for like a month. With Tezos, you can just move it between wallets as long as you're delegated. You get paid. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. So when you said you created Crunchy, I was just curious, where did you get the idea for Crunchy? The name and the brand, as well as the different services you plan to offer on Crunchy.
yeah. So I just happened to be around, actually, by pure luck, when Kipu Swap really started to take off, and kind of the whole DeFi boom on Tezos was born. At that point in time, there weren't really any DeFi applications. Um, it was just basically people just making tokens and launching them on Kipu Swap, and then like watching people buy them up and like buy and sell them and stuff. It was kind of funny. There was like a stretch there where I think nobody slept for more than a couple hours a night, and we were all just watching and waiting for new tokens. Um, and then it became very apparent to me that there were a lot of people that had ideas for projects, but they lacked development resources, right? Even still, there are a lot of projects that are announced that they don't specifically have developers. They're like trying to find them, or they have to contract them or whatever. Um, so um, yeah, so there were a lot of people with ideas, but no means to implement them. So I came up with the idea of Crunchy, which I'm calling DeFi as a service, which basically means if you've got a project or an idea, you can come to Crunchy, and we're going to provide a suite of products and services that you can use to, launch certain things, or to help your project. So right now we have farms. They've been live for a few months. Um, we've got LP liquidity lockers, for projects to lock their LP tokens to help gain trust. Um, we've got a lot of plans for things around NFTs, like a token blender, and the pie slicer that we're going to talk about in a little bit here. And then, I think there's a few other things on the roadmap, and just basically whatever we see as like a void or a need that projects could use who lack development resources, we'll kind of, implement that.
Hmm. Awesome. So our next step with the next step with Crunchy is, I think, pie slicing, right? So where did you get this idea of the fractionalized NFT, and how do you plan to implement it on 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 Crunchy?
Yeah, so fractionalization is something that exists on Ethereum. So the idea, kind of came from there. That's where I first saw it. Our plan for Pie Slicer is, if you're familiar with fractional.art, it's very, very similar to that. So someone will be able to deposit an NFT. In this case, we're going to deposit the Ghost NFT. Then you can say how many shares you want generated from that, or how many tokens. They're fully fungible tokens. So it's like a bridge. This basically bridges the gap between NFT and DeFi. So the NFT gets locked away in a vault. And then the FA2 tokens are issued. And then whoever slices it can do whatever they want with them, right? They can sell the tokens. They can start liquidity pool on KeepSwap. We're working with object.com to provide support for buying and selling slices on object.com. Hopefully other NFT marketplaces might pick it up. You could farm for them. You could, in theory, stake them in a farm. You can earn them in a farm. So basically, it's any DeFi app that you can use, like any fungible FA2 for, you could use these slices for, right? And then there's also a built-in governance mechanism where the token holders, whoever holds any part of a slice, can vote on a reserve price. And the actual reserve price is like the weighted average of everybody's vote. But then at some point in time, somebody can come along and make an offer to buy out the NFT. So when that happens, if it meets the reserve price, it triggers a public auction, which lasts for, it's configurable. So whoever slices it can set the parameters for the auction. But let's just say the auction lasts for 3 days. Or whatever. At the end of the auction, the winner gets the original NFT, and all of the slice holders can burn whatever slices they have for a percentage of the sale. So it's a little bit of an investment there in that regards as well. So.
I see. Are you planning to implement like this sort of? I remember you mentioned before there was like a DAO idea where when people first buy, they buy the sliced NFT, right, and then they can vote on a certain price that everyone wants to sell it for, and then if somebody decides to buy the whole NFT at once, they can put the Tezos in like a big pot, and then whoever has the slice can actually cash out that slice for the Tezos. Is that going to be implemented right away, or is that something you're still working on?
No, that'll be implemented right away with the Ghost Tezzard. So as soon as we slice it, we'll set a reserve price, and then we're gonna sell the slices. Actually, on the Fucker Gallery site that I also created. We're going to be selling the slices, and then once they're sold, the new owners can vote on a new reserve price if they want to or whatever. Hopefully, at some point in time, you'll be able to trade them on object.com. I have to imagine somebody will create a KeepSwap pool. We're not going to do it. We've decided we don't want to do it and provide liquidity for it. But I mean, so far, pretty much every token someone's created a pool. So I have to imagine someone create a pool at some point, and the Ghost Tezzard will be trading on KeepSwap, which would be awesome to see.
Ridiculously overpriced pool.
Yeah. But yeah. So the holders will be able to vote on a reserve price. How many slices? Oh, so our plan is 100,000 slices. And then the 3 people that originally bought it are each going to keep 5% for themselves. Those will be locked for, I think, 3 months or something is what we decided. Except for the Crunchy 5% that belongs to the Crunchy DAO, and those are going to go into farms. So everybody that wants to farm for the Ghost Tezzard, you're going to get your wish. You're going to be able to farm for the Ghost. With probably 2 farms, probably 1 CRDAO, and probably 1 XTZ Crunch. And we're planning to have the sale end of next week. So not that long to wait, guys.
Awesome. So key is hold on to your Crunchy and hold on to your CRDAO. Single stake farms coming for CRDAO holders.
CRDAO single stake for Ghost slices, or Crunchy LP stake for Ghost slices.
Yeah, that makes great sense in my opinion. So yeah, what made you choose Tezzards as the first kind of fractionalized NFT?
Yeah. So I don't know. It was just,
and why Ghosty? That's important.
Yeah. So it was just kind of the perfect storm. Like Tezzards just blew up. I think it blew up more than, well, it certainly blew up more than the artist thought it would. and just everybody's just like all in on it. It's getting so much hype. And then there were these 6 hand drawn Tezzards, inside of it. It just made perfect sense. I mean, it's one of the only NFT collections on Tezos that is like using the attributes of TZIP 21, so we can actually like rank them and give them rarity scores.
Oh, I did not know that. That's really cool.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of kind of similar things that have been minted on like Hen and Calumet, but they don't actually have traits in the metadata. So there's like no real way to rank them or give them a rarity score. So Tezzards is like one of the first that you can actually rank and give a rarity score, which I think is actually helping drive the commerce behind it. And another reason the Ghost. I mean, why not? It's just Tezos. It's the Ghost chain. Come on, like
That is true. That is true.
It's the most memeable of the Tezzards probably. So yeah, it's just the perfect fit, the perfect storm, and the perfect fit. So
That's true. That's true. I was thinking the skeleton one would be kind of cool because you could like break the bones down into different NFTs. But then I'm like, yeah, the ghost chain, that makes more sense.
yeah, yeah. And so I'll mention real quick. The other thing that Pie Slicer would be able to do is you also be able to do baskets of NFTs. So if somebody wanted to collect, like all the small face Tezzards, for example, and I'm saying this because it's something people have joked about, they could collect them all and then put all of them in a basket and slice that
I know
into a
one
single
guy's
collectible token.
he's sniping all the smalls. I see him on
Yeah,
there. Like, DM me. It's like, dang, this guy really likes small face. So, yeah, what other, I was kind of curious, what other plans do you have for Crunchy in the future? What are some other like projects you plan to implement? What kind of feedback have you had from the community regarding different projects to implement?
Yeah, a lot of people seem excited about Buy Slicer. So we're gonna work on that next. There's a lot of people waiting for Token Blender, which is kind of the opposite. That's where you can like make a recipe where you put these certain tokens in and then you get this new token out, which could be useful for a lot of applications, or even like someone that's got an idea for like a cool game but they don't quite know how to do the contracts themselves. But like they want to have some kind of like crafting or forging in the game, right? You could use something like Token Blender for that.
Oh, like you can mix copper and what is it? Copper and iron together. Does that make aluminum? I'm really bad at.
Yeah. But that's the basic idea. You can mix
Uh,
some different tokens together in different ratios and mint a new token out of it.
oh, that'd be really cool. I haven't actually seen like that sort of thing on Ethereum, but I mean I haven't gone that deep. I did play some of that space alien, whatever it's called, but I didn't see any of that kind of mechanism. It's like you have to just buy the NFT and then then you can use it for something, or you can trade it. But I never saw any like combination of NFTs or coins, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's gonna be pretty cool.
So
let's see what else.
Like Chris over there. Will the Pie Slicer work on all NFT FA tokens?
Yes, the Pie Slicer will work on any FA2 token or 1.2 even.
Oh, I think someone missed the farms. The farms for the Ghosty are going to be the Quipu swap, Crunchy and XTZ LP pool for the Ghosty, and then also just a straight CRDAO for Ghosty.
Yeah.
Quipu, just go ahead and hit me up afterwards in Discord or something if you need help getting Crunchy via Quipu, or leave a comment or hit me up on Twitter. That's fine as well. Blend Tez tops. That would be interesting. Let me see. Any questions you guys have?
Let's see. What about a syndicate buy in future where syndicate gets together, finds a wallet, and buys the NFT? So yeah, something like that is possible. There's this thing on Ethereum called as a party DAO. Party DAO is always called something like that. Actually, the funny thing about that is that it uses fractional.art. So it's basically a DAO where people can organize and be like, we want to buy this really high priced NFT. And then the DAO buys it and it automatically gets fractionalized with fractionalized.art. So certainly some kind of DAO or function like that could be built around the Pi Slicer. And I mean, who knows? Maybe Crunchy even adds that to their roadmap. We're all about pleasing the community and building tools that everyone finds useful. So.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and make some videos in the future. I have so many videos stacking up right now. It's just like, it's unbelievable. Let me think. What other questions we got here? Oh, I think you already answered this, but the CRDAO Ghost Tezzard farm launch, it should be like next week, right?
Should be. So we're gonna sell the slices next week. So the farm will probably come the week after.
Okay. And then slicing service, that'll be like in about 2 weeks.
The UI for slicing will come later. The contracts will be ready. But the actual UI for it, for anybody to come and do it without having to directly interact with the contract, is probably a few weeks away after the contract is ready. So.
Awesome. Let me think. So I don't know if you guys all heard, but there was it's kind of really random in my opinion, but they just brought an ape into Tezos from Ethereum via Blender. So it's kind of great timing for this, but now you guys can kind of see the potential for these Pi Slicer in the future with the ape and these really expensive apes coming from Ethereum. You can hold them and trade them on Tezos for the fraction of the cost that you would on Ethereum. And then eventually, hopefully, you can even send them back to Ethereum if you need to, and everything will be interoperable. Is code crafting a coding wizard? He's a cheese wizard.
That's actually funny. Yeah, I have a cheese wizard T-shirt from the hackathon, and I wear it sometimes. And my kids like make fun of me and call me a cheese wizard.
Shadowy supercoder, but he's come to the light. So
let's see, how much Tezzard will be the CRDAO reward? Okay, so how it's going to work is because there were 3 buyers on the Ghost Tezzard, right? We're going to sell the slices, and all 3 are going to split the money. The portion that I put in came from the DAO, so it's going to go right back to the DAO. So first of all profits from the sale go to the Crunchy DAO. And then in addition to that, 5,000 of the slices will be put into 2 farms for people to farm. And again, one will be straight CRDAO stake for slices, and the other will be Crunch LP for slices.
Yeah. Oh, I think another question that people would have that they may not have asked yet is, what is your plans to get this listed? How will this NFT like slice show up, like as an NFT, or will it just be like a token? Will it be on Hen? Will it be on object.com? What's your plans for that?
So it'll be a fully fungible FA2 token, right? It will have some image. We have yet to decide what the image is going to be. I mean, it could just be a thumbnail of the ghost, or I don't know, we could put the ghost on a coin. I don't know. That's still to be determined, but you know, you'll be able to see that it is a slice of the ghost. You'll be able to buy and sell it. If somebody creates an LP pool on KeePuSwap, you'll be able to buy and sell it there. If somebody creates a pool on another DEX, you'll be able to buy and sell it there. Object.com is going to work on supporting the slices. I don't know the exact timing for that. So eventually at some point in time, you'll be able to buy and sell in there. And then when the Crunchy UI for slices launches, there'll also be a buy and sell feature on there for them.
Awesome. That'll be great. So it'll be kind of based on feedback from you guys. So let us know, let CodeCrafting know kind of like what you think it should be. If it should be like having an icon, if you think it should be having like a picture or something, make sure to hit him up on Twitter and let him know. That way he kind of knows like what you guys want, you know. because that's pretty much what he's all about. He's volunteered his time and effort to make a crunchy platform so that we can all enjoy and we can all ape in on all these amazing farms. So let's make sure to give him some feedback, give him some love on Twitter, and yeah, I think that would really help.
Let's see, got some more questions here. How long have you been a dev? I've been a developer for about 20 years. So it's obviously not always been crypto focused, because crypto hasn't been around that long. Although cryptography has, but not cryptocurrency. I've only been in crypto for about the last 2 or 3 years. Any plans to buy more rare Tezzards? Yeah, who knows? We'll see how this goes, and who knows. I've also been thinking about maybe holding some lotteries on Crunchy for not necessarily specifically Tezzards, but higher value NFTs, where people can buy tickets in Crunch, and then we raffle it off to a random winner. So that's one potential thing coming to Crunch. If it's not a slice of pie, I'm going to be mad. Okay. Are the slices indexed? No, they are not. They're all fully fungible. So it's like it would be the same as like getting, Tezos or Crunch or CRDAO or whatever other token.
A personal question I had while we're looking at the questions was, do you plan on adding some sort of service for like a GoFundMe, like where people can pay a certain amount of Crunch? I think I mentioned this in the chat, but I can't remember if you responded. People can pay a certain amount of Crunch as a fee, and then they can start a FundMe, and then anybody can put their Tezos in, and if the FundMe is met, then the Tezos gets released to the owner. If it isn't met, then it gets redispersed back to the original, what we call like funders, I guess you'd call it. Have you thought about something like that? Because I think somebody else is making something like that, but it's not on mainnet yet. But I wasn't sure if you had thought about it.
I thought about it a little. I don't know. It's possible. Anything's possible. So we'll see. But I think there's some other things we want to work on first, and then kind of see what the next demand is for. Let's see. How many tacos in Estelle are you still sitting on? I have. I'm sitting on a lot of V1 tacos. I will say, it's a pain to try to look at my wallet in Temple, or in TZKT because there's so many V1 tacos in there. Everything else just gets lost in the list. How busy are you as a dev in the space right now? I'm extremely busy. If I had more time, I would figure out how to clone myself, but I don't have time to do that. So. Let's see. Tez Tees asked a question. How will this affect royalties? So it depends on where you buy and sell the slices, right? If you trade them on KeepItSwap, obviously they don't support royalties. If you trade them on object.com, that's up to those guys whether or not they're going to support the royalties. And so far they have supported royalties on everything, so I don't see why they wouldn't. The plan is for the buy and sell interface on Crunchy to support royalties. But again, these are fully fungible FAT tokens that are designed to bridge NFT to DeFi and be useful in DeFi. So in terms of day-to-day use, probably you're not going to see that many royalties get paid unless it's on a platform that supports it. But the contract on the buyout, on the event of a buyout, the contract will honor royalties. And we are planning on also honoring royalties on the initial sale. But again, that's up to whoever slices it, what they do with the slices. So at the very least, in the event of a buyout, the contract will enforce royalties. Beyond that, it depends on what platform they're bought and sold on.
I think that makes sense. The big buyouts should be the ones that pay the royalties. Uh, oh, it looks like Brock had a sort of specific question towards you. Can you share the best entry points for becoming a developer on the Tezos network if you already have a dev background?
Yeah, so get in Tezos Dev Slack if you can. There's a lot of good resources in there. If you don't have an invite, just hit up somebody that can send you one. I can send you one. Most Tezos developers can give you an invite to there. If you're just getting started in Tezos development, there's a lot of good tutorials and articles now, right? Look for tutorials and articles on Lego or SmartPy. For those are the two main smart contract languages. I do Lego myself, but a lot of people like SmartPy, and if you are familiar with Python, it's very easy to pick up. In terms of Web3, look at Taquito tutorials. That's like the main Web3 Node.js package for Tezos. Let's see what else. Yeah, just become part of the community. There's a lot of good development channels for people to help you out. The one great thing that I love about the Tezos community is that everybody's willing to help, right? Which is not a vibe that you often find in a lot of other communities. Everybody likes to work together and try to help each other succeed. We're still at that stage. So yeah, just reach out to people, and they'll point you in their direction.
And if anybody is interested in like getting into the Tezos Slack dev Slack, sorry, Slack dev, I can invite you to that as well. Or if you want to become a baker, I can help you out. I'm planning to do more videos on the future on how to become a baker, and there are actually a lot of resources out there to become a dev now. There's games, there's all sorts of interesting ways to learn how to do it, especially if you have a programming background. For me, I'm not, so I'm more of an infra guy, so it was a little bit tough. But I was able to copy some of the smart contracts and then implement them on the blockchain. And if I can do it, a dev can definitely do it. So,
getting a lot of questions here. Oh, when dark mode for Crunchy? Soon. Same answer I always give. Soon. Very soon. Other UI updates. Yeah, we're working on mobile. Probably mobile before dark mode, because I know it's terrible on mobile. I understand that. I'm sorry to anyone who only has a mobile device to use it on right now, but we are working on it. It's just coming a little slow. But mobile and dark mode are coming, yes.
What do you think about, what did we say? Blay77 asked, what are your thoughts on wrapping ETH assets?
Thoughts on wrapping ETH assets?
You think it's a good thing, or if it's just from your standpoint? I think
I think it's a good thing. It's a way to get more liquidity into Tezos. It's a little slow. I wish it was faster. Takes like about an hour to wrap something, but it's definitely needed. We need those bridges to get liquidity in. I'd love to see a bridge for BSC, bridge for Polygon.
Solana would be great too.
Yeah, bridge to Solana. We need
Solana
these
would
bridges.
work with us, I think, if we asked. We just need a dev to ask, and they would probably go for it. But we'll see.
So yeah, it's probably one of the quickest ways to get liquidity into Tezos, right? Because all these people, they already have all these tokens. There's already billions, literally billions of dollars in these other systems, and we could just filter some of that into Tezos. It'd be a quick way to get some liquidity across. That said, bridges aren't easy. There was just recently one of the biggest DeFi hacks was able to happen because of a flaw in the bridge. So it's got to be programmed very carefully and make sure that there's no exploits in them.
Yeah. Oh, here's a good one. Will you be offering collateralization loans for NFT lockups? That's from Origin Tokyo.
Will you be offering collateralized loans? So right now, Crunchy doesn't have plans to offer any loans, but there are a few lending protocols being developed. Madfish is working on one, and Tezspin is working on theirs. So there is possibility there to use these things for loans at some point in time if either of those protocols, ends up supporting it. Well, Madfish is just a protocol, and these are just FA2 tokens, so it's certainly possible on that one when it comes out.
I would think pricing would be interesting for that. But actually, if you set a maximum sell price via the NFT DAO, I guess, like what do they call it? Like the sort of like the buyout price,
Yeah,
and then you could take a loan out against that. Might be interesting with a little like 4% yearly fee or something. I don't know. little U's on Crunchy. What else we got? What are good exposure? What are coins for good exposure to Are these good coins for exposure to Tezos-defi, Quipo, and Crunch? I'm not sure what that means exactly, but I think they mean like, is CRDAO and Crunch good exposure for Tezos? I think it is. I mean, code crafting is one of the longest, like most senior devs in the Tezos network, at least from what I've seen. And having him create this NFT platform, this NFT pie slicer is gonna revolutionize NFTs on Tezos. It's going to make it easier for people who are just getting on Tezos to get their hands on a really rare NFT. It's going to give the NFTs chances to move around between different platforms a little bit easier, I think. It's also going to give a chance for Ethereum people who don't want to spend so much on gas to go ahead and just move their NFT over to Tezos until S 2.0 finally comes out. So yeah, I think my camera just froze.
Yeah, it looks like your camera froze.
There we go. Oh, I gotta change my camera somehow. Just a second.
Any plans for make your own FA token service on Crunchy? Yeah, possibly. I've considered it. I've held off because there's the what's it called, the FA2 bakery thing that everybody uses to create their tokens. But yeah, I've thought about adding one to Crunchy with a few more options. So it's certainly possible. I think we lost Mac. Let's see, question from Kevin. As interest in Tezos by the wider crypto enthusiast world grows, what are some ways to make it easier to route these newcomers into DeFi and Crunchy?
There we go.
Okay, welcome back.
Thanks. I think my camera gets overheated when I don't have the air conditioner
on. Yeah, so one easy way to route newcomers is to have easy on and off ramps. This is crypto, but one way to do that is through fiat, right? So I'm sure a lot of people here have checked out the OneOf NFT platform, right? And they've actually added XTZ support now, but they started with just fiat and credit card because that's what the masses want and are used to. So one thing I'm exploring with Crunchy is to be able to accept fiat for different things on the platform through this company called Wort. And they integrate with smart contracts. It's actually pretty cool. You go through a lightweight KYC, and then you basically use your credit card to buy Tezos, and then they submit to the contract on your behalf. So it's actually kind of cool, but it's a very easy on ramp for people who are not used to wallets or crypto or anything like that. So that's one thing that we're kind of exploring right now as a way to make it like easier for newcomers to jump in and start farming or something. I mean, you just swipe your card and start farming, right?
Yeah, definitely. I was also thinking all these credit card companies, they charge so much to be able to buy XTZ with a credit card. But I'm like, now that they have this ability to buy NFTs, they could just charge the same. Like NFTs don't have the same, I don't think, tax implications as it would be buying crypto technically in most, well, different depending on the country. But you could just buy an NFT and then possibly sell it for Tezos. And then you wouldn't have to worry so much about the huge fees from the credit card company.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that'll work that way, but I was thinking if it did, it would be great.
Is it possible to slice Uno blocks? Yeah, sure. They're just FA2 tokens. So you can slice any token. And this is, this is a thought I've actually had before too. You could get a bunch of people to buy, one of like the very early Genesis blocks, and then slice it and all control it with the DAO, and all collectively make decisions on how it's going to operate in the game and stuff. So there's definitely a lot of applications for Pie Slicer beyond just slicing artwork.
And normally, will the pie slicer, in order to use it, it's going to require crunch, right? Like a certain fee, depending on how big the NFT is or how much you want to get for the slices.
Yeah, so the initial slice will be like a crunch fee, like everything else. So that I would become bigger.
How big do you see Tezzards becoming? Godzilla. That's what we're talking about right here. It's gonna come out of Tokyo. I'm gonna see one of these Tezzards come out of Tokyo, start climbing up Tokyo Tower. It's like right outside my window. Like oh dang, a Tezzard's out there.
Let's see. When WTZ are you working with RN? Yeah, so I guess WTZ is another project I'm working on. I'm working on the contracts right now. Hopefully they'll be on testnet soon. And Ari plans to support it in Spicy Swap. And I don't know what other dexes are going to support it. We'll just have to see. So it's kind of going to be up to, we're just going to put it out there, and people will use it if they like it and want to use it. And if they don't, they won't. So
Spicy Swap for the win. Woo. Actually, that's a probably good topic that most people don't realize that only you can really answer. What's the difference between CTEZ and WTZ that you're planning to make, and the one that Arthur's making? What's the difference, and what are the benefits of each, in layman's terms?
Yeah. So CTEZ and WTZ are both ways to tokenize XTZ to make it easier to use in DeFi. Just because then not all contracts support native XTZ, but they all do support FA tokens. So it's just a little way to make it easier. CTEZ takes the approach that you create yourself a vault, you put your XTZ in there, you delegate your vault to a baker, and then you get your CTEZ tokens and you go off and use them. And then it also has a AMM component to swap between CTEZ and TEZ, because inevitably, if you start playing around in DeFi, you're going to end up with CTEZ that you didn't mint yourself. And so since you didn't mint it yourself, you can't convert it directly back to TEZ. So you have to go through an AMM contract to do that, which could be subject to slippage or whatever, depending on, especially if you want to convert a large amount of CTEZ that you did not mint yourself. WTZ is similar, but it takes a different approach. In WTZ, you don't have your own vault. Instead, there is a collection of, I guess, community vaults or whatever you want to call them, but there's just a collection of vaults. And when you mint WTZ, it gets spread among the vaults that are delegated to different bakers. And then you get WTZ in return. The difference is with WTZ, there is no AMM or DEX contract. If you end up with WTZ that you didn't mint yourself, you can always swap it back for Tez, because again, it's not a personal vault. It's just it's a collective vault. Um, so here we're giving a little bit more importance or priority to being able to swap back and forth between WTZ and Tez with no slippage and always at the current ratio. So both Ari and I have talked, and our thought is, people don't necessarily care who their specific baker is; they just care that their test is being baked by somebody reliable. And so we've taken that approach, in that people would rather have convertibility and transferability than the ability to specifically say, I want this specific baker, as long as the test is being baked, right? They don't
Definitely.
necessarily
I
care.
think the ease of use is very, very important if we're going to onboard more people, and that's been a kind of an issue with Tezos. It's been too complicated, and it's been a little bit overthought in a way. So I think that that this kind of big pool, I mean, you can make maybe 0.5% more if you choose your own baker and you nitpick the baker that has a really low fee. But then you have to go ahead and worry about slippage, which you're probably just gonna lose all of your extra rewards you would have gotten by choosing the cheapest baker, just by the lack of liquidity or whatever in the pool. So yeah.
So the other thing that WTZ is going to do and allow is that, so now we're going to have these large pools of Tez, right? We can take those and use them to invest in other things to get higher yield than just baking, right? There's lending protocols coming out. We can take some of them and lend them for higher yield. There's all kinds of things you can do. And so what's going to happen is that there's going to be these contracts called asset managers that are going to be allowed to borrow some of the Tez in the pools and use it to generate higher yield. And so then what WTZ holders are going to be able to do is they're going to be able to stake their WTZ in some kind of staking contract to get these extra yields. So maybe you just want to take your WTZ and just, use it as usual and get your normal baking rewards, or maybe be like, I'll lock it up for 30 days for an extra 10%, whatever. So.
Wow. Yeah, that's gonna be really awesome, I think. It sounds like complicated on the back end, but for the end user, for the people who are going to be using it, it doesn't sound like it's going to be extremely complicated. Just one swap, you can get your WXTZ or WTZ, and then you can basically use that, put it into a farm that basically earns the yield that the kind of, what do you call it, the borrowers from the big pool are using to get more yield from. So it's going to be like some sort of, what is it, like is it Aave kind of thing, sort of? It's like an Aave, but it's like a back end Aave sort of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, kind of. Or kind of like
I haven't seen that on any other chain.
Balancer does this.
Oh, Balancer.
Yeah, Balancer. So the way that the Balancer AMM works is that there aren't separate pools, right? When you deposit to Balancer, create a pool or whatever, that's just like an arbitrary thing. Like in the back end in the contract, it's all like one giant pool, and then they have these asset managers that can come and take some of those funds and either give them to Aave or lending protocols or whatever to generate more yield for the LP providers.
Oh, how do you apply to become an asset manager? Is that going to be like specific companies, or is it going to be like a WTZ DAO or something?
So an asset manager is just a contract. What contracts are allowed is going to have to, it's yet to be determined, but it's going to have to be carefully reviewed to make sure that, they're not stealing the Tez, or, they're secure. It's probably going to be voted on by some kind of DAO. Tentatively, it's the Crunchy DAO because it's the only DAO that really exists, but it could be a WTZ specific DAO. It's not set in stone yet. But yeah, all that's yet to be determined. Asset managers will come further down the road, just because there's a lot of risk there. But how are rewards received by people who participate? So if you're talking about WTZ, in terms of the asset managers, the way it will work is you will stake WTZ to receive more WTZ. In terms of the baking rewards, whenever whenever bakers send back rewards to the vaults, it adjusts the swap ratio, and you get your baking rewards when you swap WTZ back out for Tez based on what the ratio was when you swapped in and out. So it should be, roughly 5%, 5-6% a year or whatever it is.
Oh, so it's not an AMM, it's an actual, it's like basically it does keep track of your borrowed assets, but it ensures that you're always able to also swap against other people's borrowed assets. So it's like kind of like, it's not an AMM, but it's like, what do you call it, like a shared vault, I guess is what you said before, right?
Yeah, shared vault, it's not an AMM. It just keeps track of a swap ratio. And depending on what their current ratio is, that's what you either get in or out. So like, for example, at the very start, the ratio is 1-to-1, right? So you put in 100 Tez, you get back 100 WTZ, right? Let's say a year later, the ratio is now 1 to 0.95 because there's been like 5% inflation, right? So if you took that 100 Tez, if you took that 100 WTZ and you asked for Tez, you would get 105 Tez back, right? At the same time, if you took that 100 Tez and asked for WTZ, you would get like 90. I'd have to do the math, but roughly 95 WTZ. But it would be like 94 point something. How the math works out.
What if you never actually took it out of the vault? You just traded for it. Which ratio would you get? 1-to-1?
If you what?
If you just took, instead of using the vault for the WTZ, you took the WTZ from another AMM, and then you tried to cash it out in the vault, would you get the 1-to-1 ratio?
No, you get whatever the current ratio is. So it doesn't matter if you minted it or not. It doesn't matter at what point in time it was minted. It always swaps at the current ratio. You only get baking rewards if you put an initial swap. Nope, you always get baking rewards. You can always trade WTZ for baking rewards. It doesn't matter if you were the one who minted it, or if you bought it on KeepYourSwap, or just somebody sent it to you as a gift.
Oh, so basically WTZ is deflationary compared to Tezos. Technically, it'll slowly go up in price.
Correct. It will automatically adjust itself to the inflation from the baking rewards. Yes.
So get that WTZ. Is there a plan to keep it close to 1-to-1?
It will. So there's no AMM mechanic. It's purely mechanical. It will always swap at the current ratio. So the ratio will be 1-to-1 until baking rewards are received, and that will change based on what those baking rewards are, and that will stay that until more rewards come in. So in theory, every year it should change by roughly about 5 to 6%, right? So it's impossible for it to lose quote unquote peg because there's no there's no slippage or changing mechanism. It's always based on inflation from baking rewards.
Interesting. We have time for one more question, and then we can decide code crafting go ahead and decide which question he likes the best, and we'll reward the question asker. What is it? What does this one say? So if you only get the baking rewards if you put in the initial swap. I'm not sure that. Okay.
Why don't you have a Tezos hat on? Because I don't have it on because I haven't burned my NFT to get the hat yet. I have the NFT that I can burn to get the hat. I just haven't burned it yet. I can't bring myself to burn it. I want to keep the NFT and get the hat.
I have an interesting question. What's your most favorite OG Tezos NFT project besides Tezzards? And tacos.
Probably Tez Pirates. I'd have to say, yeah.
He has some great artwork, I'm sure.
Yeah, he does. He does. Probably Tez Pirates. Yeah, I've had fun with that one. Yeah, bought out the rest of the gold doubloons at one point. And then I had some fun with it. And what did I do? Oh, my crew came down with scurvy and did a mutiny and like gave a bunch of them away on Twitter. It was a lot of fun. So.
Do you like cats? Okay.
I have 2 cats. I don't know. You might be able to hear my cat in the background meowing. She doesn't know where I went and is lost.
Where are the best crunchy tacos in Tokyo? If you come to Tokyo, let me know, and I'll meet you up front. Take you to a good taco place. Okay, so which question did you like the best? It's hard to choose. There's so many.
Oh man. Oh, there's so many questions. How do I choose?
Oh, I did. This one was a good one. I didn't see it before. How did you see Crunchy as a product 2 years from now?
2 years from now. Ooh. Oh man, it's tough to say. Hopefully it's still around. 2 years from now, hopefully it's still a project. Yeah, I don't know. 2 years from now, it'll be controlled by a DAO. Hopefully, my hope is 2 years from now it's controlled by a DAO that has a treasury large enough that they're able to give out, grants and stuff to other people in the ecosystem and kind of be like a go-to place for people who want to like learn DeFi, how to get into it and all that stuff.
What are your guys' Twitter handles? Oh yeah, before we close this, let's go ahead and crap. What was your Twitter handle? Let me find it real quick. I think it was
my code crafting.
My code crafting. I'll put it in the bottom here. There we go. And what is the favorite question of the day?
There was one that I liked. Let's see. Where did it go?
And I put our Twitter handles at the right here, so you guys go and add us on Twitter. Feel free to tag me in any questions. PM me. I'm also active on the Tezzards Discord and the Crunchy Discord. If any of you guys need to have any questions about baking, yeah.
Someone asked the question. It was something like, "Is code crafting a coding wizard?"
Where was that? Who asked that?
I don't know. I can't find it now.
I mean, so many questions.
I can't scroll up that far in the backstage.
Kryptstar is cool, so is code crafting. You should have made that a question, then you would have won. Let me think. Oh, I saw a good one. Where was it? The wizard one. Where is it? I think we can look at the chat room later. Or maybe somebody found it for us. Guy 3pod. Who's that?
Guy 3P Wood deserves to win.
I was supposed to implement a way to search the chat room, but I totally thought it would be easier to implement. Then I realized I had to like download some stuff. Do you guys know who asked? Can you guys see the whole chat? Can you see who asked about the cheese wizard? Who said code? is asked if code crafting is a cheese wizard. He's a coding wizard. Okay. I might be able to see it on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Marco. Yeah, let's go with that. I mean, there were so many questions, so many great questions. There were no bad questions, but I've got to pick somebody. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Marco's question for the Tezzard.
With who? Which one?
Marco.
Marco, is code crafting a coding wizard? Okay, sounds good. Marco, could you leave your Twitter Twitter handle in the chat here, and then I'll go ahead and hit you up on Twitter and send
Slice
you
the reward and give it to everyone.
There you go. Wow. Sounds like a plan. Sweet. Marco, could you go ahead and hit me up on Twitter? Or could if somebody knows Marco connect us somehow? Or leave your Twitter handle at the bottom here if he's still here. Oh, it was Marco. It was him, he said. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, anyways, thank you for introducing us to the NFT pie slicer today. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to hit up Code Crafting. If you want to work on Tezos, become a Tezos dev, Code Crafting is the man for you. And I can also point you in the right direction if you need some help with baking or anything like that. And thank you guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe below. And there's our Twitter handles. And we'll catch you all next time.
Yeah, thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.